All right, guys. So we got durable good orders today. We got jobless claims numbers, and the big one is GDP dropping at 8:30 this morning in about 2 hours. Again, we'll see what happens here with this data. Market is incredibly red, and so we'll see if the data can save the market or whether the market's going to keep falling. Let me know what you guys think we're going to get here today. A lot of people are worried. Of course, I would be too. GDP data is supposed to come out today. Jobless claims, durable good orders, Amazon earnings. Tomorrow we have PCE data. So we'll see. Let me know if you guys think we're going to experience anything like that. I'm watching to see what happens. UPS also released their numbers this morning, I believe. We got jobless claims numbers. I'm going to get some music playing here. Market's bouncing a little bit over the last 20, 30 minutes. Maybe a little bit longer, maybe the last few hours. But what's up, Kevin? GDP releases at 8:30, and it's expected at 4.3%. It might be 4.2. Yeah, it's 4.3%. I believe, yeah, 4.3% is what they're expecting quarter over quarter. The expectations for GDP up right there. I haven't even had any coffee yet. Let me see. Tesla at 210. Yeah, let's look at it. Google all the way at 124s. Tesla down at 207s. Another weak day. PayPal back up a little bit today. That's good. All right. And again, hit the like button on the stream. Hit the subscribe button. Let's keep the growth up, team, if we haven't already. What do you guys think? UPS released this morning. Looks like they're reacting negatively too. It's a weird market, man. You know, sometimes you get markets where everything is bad, and the market pushes up anyway. And sometimes you get markets where most stuff is good, but it pushes down anyway. And we're kind of in one of those markets where a lot of stuff's coming in favorably. Specifically yesterday we had Meta earnings come in pretty favorably, and they ended up correcting all the way back to 290. Like, Meta numbers came in good guidance, good EPS, good revenue. Amazon as well, Google as well. Earnings are super weird because you never know what you're going to get with it. It's kind of like Forrest Gump in a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get it from an earnings play. And with that, what ultimately started this little mini correction is Google earnings came out and they were mixed. Like, they weren't terrible. It wasn't like Google showed horrible earnings. They were mixed results, and they were better than expected on EPS, better than expected in sales. The only thing that was slightly worse than expected was cloud revenue, but everything else was pretty good. But the market still tanked, or Google specifically still tanked, which is weird. Ford also releasing earnings this morning or yesterday. Ford's doing okay. I'm in Ford right now too. It's not a huge position, but hey. All right, so Ford UAW near a tentative labor deal to potentially end the 6-week auto strike. We'll see if they do. Ford strikes a tentative deal to end the auto strike. All right, so they reached a deal. GM and Stellantis is up next. All right, so the auto strike might be done. Yeah, 100% Raphael. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes, though. I wish the market was that predictable all the time. Again, slap the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're going to do a poll. Will GDP come in higher or lower than the 4.3% expected? Higher, lower, and as expected are going to be the three options on the poll today. Let me know what you guys think there. I don't know. I don't know what GDP. I hope GDP. I think it could go either way, man. And I think right now it's a weird market. Like, I really think it could go either way, because I think higher GDP will signal bigger inflation problems, which the market might actually want right now, to be honest. Higher GDP. Lower GDP could signal more recession fears, and with the market pulling back like it has in the last couple of weeks, I don't know. I don't know what the market wants. I don't know what the market's going to do. Nvidia is another big story to this pullback that we've had. Nvidia all the way back down to 410s. So we'll see, but I'm not sure what we're going to get. I hope the market reacts positively to it. I know that. That's what I want. I want the market to react positively to it. Walmart. Yeah, I mean, I'm in Walmart. I've been green on it. It's one of my better performing swing trades. Didn't Honeywell recently report earnings? Was it this morning? Are they out yet? Okay, yeah, Honeywell, better than expected EPS, miss revenue. Slight miss on revenue, though. Honeywell's not really reacting that much, which is fine. Yeah, we'll see. Again, slap that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell. We appreciate the love. Thanks so much. GDP data today, guys. Big day. We'll see if we get anything good. Jobless claims data, also durable good orders coming out today, man. We just got a lot of stuff happening, to be honest. All right, guys. So we're kind of sitting back waiting here. We're watching the E-mini, see if we can get into some good stuff. Watching the E-mini Dow. Watching crude oil. Watching the NASDAQ. Chat, let me know what you think GDP data is going to come in today as. What's GDP data going to come in as? Let me know. Y'all think it's going to come in good, bad, high, low? Let me know if you guys think what percentage will GDP data come in as is the better question, I think. Like, what percentage do you think it's going to show up as? Walmart direction. Yeah, I'm in Walmart. Walmart's had a really nice bounce. What is better for the market, high or low? I really don't know. I think it could be either one. I think it's really nuanced. I think, I think a higher than expected rate reading will signal more inflation problems. And in a period in which the Fed is probably going to be a period now there's a 2.9% on potential rate cut in a period where the Fed is probably going to be sustaining rates. They're not going to be raising it. They're not going to be lowering it. They're most likely going to be sustaining rates. There's also about 3% of people thinking they might cut rates, which I don't know if that's what we're going to get, but let me know what you guys think. I think the market could go either way, and it's certainly nuanced, and I'm really not sure today. This is one of the GDP releases, and this drops monthly. Prelim data drops monthly, but this one's a little bit different, and I'm not sure what we're gonna get here. I think anything could potentially happen. What is better for the market, higher or lower? We really don't know. It depends on what the market fears. If the market fears inflation, it's going to want lower. But again, lower GDP might signal worse problems that we're facing now with stock prices declining. And so I'm not sure. I don't know what the market wants. I don't know what the market's going to react positively to here. I really don't. I'm not sure what they're going to want with this report. I don't know if they're going to want higher or lower GDP. And again, that's my question to you all. You think the market wants higher or lower GDP data? Let me know. That's the question I'm going to ask the chat. Do you think the market wants higher or lower GDP? Let me know in chat. I'm really not sure. Again, bump the like button if you haven't. What's up, B? Southwest Airlines earnings. They are 6:45. They should be out already for Love. So Love numbers should be out already. Let me see. Yeah, Love posted numbers already. So Love posted 38 cents, which was in line with estimates. An EPS revenue missed at 6.52 versus 6.56 estimates. The flight attendants are going to vote on a new contract. Revenue was 6.5 bill for the third quarter. Yeah, we also had UPS numbers. UPS posted guidance numbers, lowered 2023 revenue guidance. So UPS is not really reacted the best to this after lower guidance numbers here. Microsoft dipping a little bit in pre. A lot of markets just scared now. Amazon will be interesting too. Amazon numbers are coming out today. And again, I think the whole world's worried about it because, it's a time in which good earnings are causing tanks in markets. Meta, a good example of this. Meta, Google, both had pretty good earnings, and the market reacted negatively to it. So, and we'll put a timer up here for this report. We're gonna have an hour and 40 minutes. Until this report. There's Tesla. Tesla all the way down at 207s right now. Is there anything y'all are thinking about buying up? All right, guys, we are at 415 on the SPY, 415 on the SPY. Meta at 290s. Yeah, market's scared, man. What's up, Beach Bum? Roku. Yeah, I mean, Roku's a stock I'm pretty skeptical in, man. I've been skeptical in this one just because I think the business is replaceable, and I think the margins are going to get worse as the hardware stops becoming a thing and businesses produce software. I think you might think they're going to get better, but I think they're going to get worse. Yeah. All right, guys. Gorlock the Destroyer. All right, team. So again, we got the FOMC meeting next week. That's going to be even sketchier. House finally has a speaker. All right, guys. So yeah, Tesla just dumped under 207s. So I'm catching up on the market news today. Nvidia to buy. I don't know. Is Michael Burry predictions correct? What predictions though? You know, like I hear a lot of people like okay, there's a couple things to talk about, right? And again, I say the last couple people that asked, I'll say what it is, and then they'll just kind of not say anything else because like I don't think they know. I don't know if they can, right? But like one of the big ones specifically is that what prediction did Michael Burry make? Like Michael Burry's made about 20 crash predictions in the last 10 years or so, right? And if we look at the SPY right now, we're just not crashing at all. Like we're this is not a crash. This could maybe be considered a small correction over the past couple months. But when you look at the SPY, I mean, again, the SPY opened up the year at 380s. We're at 420 right now, 415, 420. Like we're nowhere near a crash. A crash would have to be way down here to be considered a crash. You know what I mean? And so, number one, if you're talking about some type of crash prediction, we did not crash. Like this little, we are just having a bearish couple months, which is normal. It's normal volatility in the market. Like a lot of short-term traders, I think what happens is like a lot of day traders, some of them are really short-term, and so when they look at falling markets like this, they tend to sensationalize it. The other argument I hear is that Burry's option plays from June somehow are a prediction. But again, I've heard from a lot of different people, and I'm pretty sure that Burry was actually net long on these positions, right? I'm pretty sure Burry was net long on these positions. And so Burry was betting on the upside and hedging with those short options is what I heard. And so again, if that's the case, number one, even if he was short longer term, the time decay in those options are probably going to eat him up. He's probably not as green as people think. But again, I'm not mad at him if he made money. Number two is that I've heard he was net long, and so if you're going to talk about Burry predictions, name a specific one and we'll talk about it. But if you don't have a specific one, and we're definitely not in a crash yet. I'll say that. Not yet. Again, if we're going to crash, we have the recipe for it now, specifically the inverted yield curve. A lot of nuance there, inverted yields like that. That is one of the signs, but it also could just mean a recession, which doesn't always mean crash. You know what I mean? The real estate market is struggling, so. Yeah, for sure. Market wants lower GDP and higher jobless claims, maybe. No, if you've never seen the market tank like that, Kevin, you're probably pretty new then, brother. Yeah, I'm reading about that now in Lewiston. Lewiston what? Yeah, so I'm reading about that news. Terrible story here. SPY just broke down a little bit under 415 again, still dipping down some. Yeah, all good, Kevin. No worries, brother. What's up, Christian? TP? Yeah, I mean, people ask the same questions, though. You know, a lot of them are just desperate to be right. Like a lot of the people, again, like, okay, you got to think about the logic of it, right? So, like, if you were betting on a market crash here, you know what I mean? And I was like, no, we don't have to crash. And then the market pushed up a lot. You know, you might be kind of celebrating on this, right? But we're still higher than where we were almost all of the major crash predictions. And so it's just kind of like I think people really want to be right. And so every little, you know, pullback, every drop, they're saying, aha, see? And it's just like, all right, hey, listen, you know, celebrate it if you want. But we'll see what happens, you know. Again, I'm not saying we don't crash. I'm really not. At this point in time, I'm nervous about it, if I'm being completely honest. And I'm always honest about how I feel. Like I'm nervous about this drop as it is. I'm sitting in my swing trades pretty quiet. Like I'm not adding to positions right now. I'll wait. And we'll see what happens. Again, we got about 200 people here. Hit the live button, hit the play button, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate the love, guys. We still got an hour and a half until GDP drops, hour and a half. And then Amazon earnings this evening are going to make it a busy freaking day. All right, guys. So, yeah, I'm not going to be surprised either. Why is the dollar so strong? The dollar is strong. So, Doom, you got to understand the dynamic of the dollar, right? The dollar index is going to go up as the market falls, right? The reason for that is because it's competitive. They're competitive with each other, you know. So like cash versus investments, you know. If your cash is losing value, you're more likely to buy the SPY or the S&P. If your cash is gaining value, you're less likely to buy the SPY and the S&P. And so as the SPY and the S&P drop, the dollar is gaining value in that regard. The Dixie's probably shooting up right now, you know, but that generally happens in moments of market weakness. Yeah, look at the Dixie. It's up big today. Again, that generally happens in moments of weakness. And again, it's just because they're competitive with each other is all it is. Yeah, I think so too, Bob. We'll see if that happens, man. Hey, what's up, Beach? Oh, have you seen US dollar Japanese yen? Crazy? No, I haven't. What's it doing? I'm gonna mute the music for just a second. I'm watching some stuff on Twitter. Yeah, sad to hear. Yeah, sorry, I'm keeping track of this other thing, but man. All right, guys. Hey, we'll see if we get anything good right now, man. I'm hoping we do. Um, Feels like the last two Friday dumps were due to fear. Yeah, maybe. I think I think we're in this weird market right now. Um, I think we're in this weird market where good earnings are bad, and the market's falling on good earnings. I think the whole market wants to be bearish right now, which usually means pressure from banks, right? Like banking pressure, propaganda, stuff like that going on. I think that's pushing the market down. I think somebody said that earlier, and I agree because it's like, again, you can look at like Google, for instance, right? Google had great earnings, better than expected EPS, better than expected revenue, better than expected guidance. The only thing that they had a problem with was cloud revenue, like one sector, which is a big sector, don't get me wrong, but it shouldn't cause a 10% drop in Google. It's just not really reasonable. It's nonsensical. And so in that regard, you got to think of why this stuff is happening. And again, this is not just Google. Like, it happened with a lot of different stocks this earnings season so far, specifically Microsoft. Meta yesterday. Meta had a great earnings report, great guidance, and Meta's down from the earnings report. And so either there's a couple explanations for them. One of them is that we're just extended heading into those earnings reports, which is very possible, but we're also down pretty heavily over the last 3 months. If we look at like Meta here or something like that, if we look at Meta and we look at the 180-day chart, Meta's been pulling back into this earnings report. Meta was at 330s back in like 10 days ago. So Meta prior to the earnings report dropped from 330s down to 305, basically $25 a share. So basically, it dropped a pretty decent percent heading into this earnings report, like almost 10% heading into this earnings report. And so then it had this big drop of another 10%. So yeah, interesting for sure. I mean, it's not the end of the world. Like, a lot of these are up a lot already, and that's the nuance. That's the lens you have to understand these for, right? So like, here's a 6-month chart, just a 6-month chart on Meta, right? Just to put this into perspective. Meta 6 months ago was at 167. If you look at a yearly chart, it's even worse. Meta was at like 80, $100 a year ago. And so Meta's up hundreds of percent this year. And again, that's the lens you have to look at this under. And that's why I'm trying to tell people, like, everybody like, oh, the SPY is doomed. It's doom and gloom. It's the market crash that Burry predicted. Like, bro, the SPY is green on the year. Like, look at the SPY. Like, listen, the SPY opened up at 380s. We are now at 420. You know what I mean? Like, we're not crashing right now. We would have to drop way below the lows of the year to crash, and we're just not there yet. We're not there right now. Now, you could call this a little mini correction or whatever you want to call it, but that's just normal volatility in the market. And it is what it is. Like, maybe we keep going down, maybe we bounce up. I really have no idea. I think a lot of the time heading into the holiday season, we get good action, but it's never 100%. It's never consistent, I would say. So we'll see if we get a rally, and a Santa rally. Hmm. Am I the only one who misses the SPY when it was in the 360s? Everyone thing was so cheap. Yeah, UAW. Yeah, well, it got a Ford deal. Everything else is, you know. I mean, it's definitely slowed, Bob. There, you know, slowed is different than going down, right? Inflation hasn't dropped, but it's certainly slowed. You know, so inflation hasn't dropped, but it's certainly slowed. That's obvious. You know what I mean? Mm. Am I the only one that gets excited when markets drop? No, I mean, I usually love buying up the dips too. Usually it means we're in a pretty good spot and we'll be okay. All right, team. Yeah, I'm catching up everything now. All right, guys. So, at what point do we call out AMC here and AMC pushers and pumpers on social media? Hmm. Hey, what's up, Wilton? Disney. Yeah, Disney's been falling down pretty sure. Yeah, Disney at 80 bucks. Again, I got 20 shares though. I'm down $17 on the trade. Yeah, man. What bothers me the most regarding AMC is like when you look on social media, you see a lot of these guys like, I found out something big for AMC guys, and then all the other AMC guys are like, oh, what did you find? You know, and they're like, the hedgies are gonna pay, and it's like, bro, they're in like a fake war. Like AMC is just a terrible movie theater stock that went through a global pandemic and doesn't really make much money anymore. You know, like what are y'all fighting about? You know, y'all think AMC really it's a post-split price of, or it's a pre-split price of 92 cents? You know, I certainly don't live off of my trading, Martin. Yeah, I certainly don't live off my trading for sure. Never claim to. I mean, yeah, I mean this is just Twitter, not YouTube. But all right, team. Again, any other big news today? Let me check to see what we got. American Tower Core reported earnings. Altria reported earnings. Keurig Dr. Pepper reported earnings. They beat EPS slightly. Revenue beat EPS. Reaffirmed guidance. American Tower Corporation beat EPS. Beat revenue. Raise guidance. Anything else? Bristol Myers posted numbers. Beat EPS. See, a lot of stuff's beating EPS, beating revenue, and raising guidance, and still falling down. Tractor Supply Co. beat EPS, missed revenue. Valero adjusted EPS was 749, expected 747. Revenue of 38.4 bill, expected 38.46, slightly worse than expected for Valero. Product demand remains strong in our wholesale system in the U.S. They matched the Q2 record of over 1 million BPD of sales volume. Mercedes-Benz CEO says the next big step for AI implementation is an in-car super assistant planned for 2025 cars or vehicles. So Hershey's also released earnings today. They came in at 260 versus 245, revenue of 303 versus 295. Net sales at constant currency of plus 10.7%, expected plus 8.11%. Reaffirmed fiscal year adjusted EPS view of 9.46 to 9.45 versus 9.54. So again, neutral guidance. Yeah, but what you'll see is like most stuff is actually beating their numbers. Like most earnings this year are pretty solid. So most are doing well. You know what I mean? Like it's surprising because we've almost gotten like constant dips in markets. You know, we'll go ahead and post this here so we can watch this, but it's a really interesting time. And again, tomorrow we got PCE inflation data dropping, which is, you know, again, super interesting. All right, so but yeah, earnings today continue the trend of All right, so what other earnings we got today? So again, we got there we go. Where do I access my drafts? There it is. All right, so yeah, earnings today include UPS, which is the big one, which BDPS missed revenue. Hershey's, which BDPS beat revenue. Valero, a bunch of other ones. Merck, Southwest, Altria, MasterCard, which isn't out yet. Tractor Supply Co. Comcast, boo. BDPS though. So we went and posted that on our YouTube page or on our Twitter page. Again, Google trying to bounce back. I'm watching Google closely as well as like Nvidia. Again, Nvidia is a pretty big one to watch. Well, you probably remember when I didn't cover data as much, Hustle, but we turned it to an economic release channel. Yeah, Amazon earnings this evening. AMC's about to squeeze big. You're joking though, right, Kevin? Are you joking, Kevin? I mean, I'm not mad at you if you believe that, brother, you know, but like, again, you also have to kind of listen to what I'm going to say. I'm not an AMC hater, bro, but like, you have to understand what a lot of these retail new traders, you, I think, admitted that you had only been trading for what, like 8 months. Like, you have to understand how much propaganda is being thrown out for AMC. The reason so much propaganda is being thrown out for AMC is because AMC traders back in 2021, you know, got stuck in this rip, right? And so again, what happened was that GameStop squeezed, but GameStop had a low float of like 40 or 50 million, and a huge short float of like 130%. You know, and so what you have to understand is that a lot of retail traders got stuck in this pump and they were never able to cover, and you know, it's confirmation bias. And so a lot of people, like, what happened in 2021 is that everybody basically said, yeah, AMC was going to go to $1,000 a share. Watch, it's crazy. Watch what happens. You know, we know all this information, the hedgies, you know, and all this different stuff, right? Number one, let me tell you this. Naked shorts are not verifiable. Like, it's impossible to prove. And so it's the perfect excuse to justify a conspiracy, right? Because it's not actually freaking provable. There's no way to actually prove naked shorts, synthetic shares. There's no way to prove it. You know, every stock has synthetic shares and naked shorts to a certain extent. There's no way to prove it. And so them using that argument, like, yeah, you know, like, that's the reason AMC is going to go to 10,000. No, it's not. AMC going to $10,000 a share is so far outside the realm of possibility for any stock ever to do that, that it shows how many people truly don't understand the stock market, right? Again, the problem with AMC, the reason it's not going to go to $10,000 a share is because the float size of AMC right now is what's the float? It's definitely not a small float, I'll tell you that. AMC's float right now is about 200 million, right? 200 million. I'm showing the short float's only about 7.5%. And so that's just not the conditions you need. Even if it did squeeze, it's never going to get anywhere close to 1,000. It might squeeze up to like $30, $40, $50 now at a post split price. And so the problem is like what happens is like you got these people who are trying to build a following on social media, right? They're trying to build a following on social media. And so what do is they tell all these new traders that don't really know any better. They're like, hey, this stock is going to go crazy high. It's going to squeeze, it's going to go to $10,000, right? And it's confirmation bias because the bag holders in AMC desperately want that to happen. Like they desperately want it to go to 1,000. And so they're more likely to believe it will. It's called confirmation bias. And so a lot of these guys are just growing huge followings on social medias. And a lot of the big stock traders that y'all watch today got big by telling people the same thing. Like a lot of these stock traders that have now pivoted to cover fundamental FOMC economic reports and stuff like that, they were telling people AMC was going to go to 1,000 a share too. And then when it didn't, they basically just kind of started covering something else and never acknowledged that they told people that, right? And so a lot of them are just getting manipulated. Like a lot of new retail traders are just getting manipulated. It's one of my biggest pet peeves in the market because I've been sitting here for years telling people the same thing. AMC is incredibly sketchy. It's a struggling movie theater stock in the middle of a global pandemic. A lot of the shorts have already covered, and it's just something that like new retail traders eat it up because they desperately want it to happen. But you have to see, like, there's been like 100 different conspiracies about why AMC was going to squeeze up to $1,000 a share in the last year. They like watch social media. There's literally a new one every day, right? So don't be gullible. Don't be dumb. Like, think about it. Like, they're just manipulating you, to grow. Yeah, like selling popcorn. Imagine how hard imagine how bad the margins have got to be on selling popcorn. Yeah, but the biggest criminals are the YouTubers that told you to buy it, RB, not the hedge funds. Like, they were just trying to create a fake enemy there. Like, the biggest ones that you should be mad at are not the hedge funds, but it's the YouTubers who told you to buy it, Yeah, thinking the Atlas crew are real, man. Again, new traders are so primed to be manipulated. It's crazy. And I remember being new, and again, I remember losing tons of money in the beginning. But like new traders really are just primed to be manipulated, brother. They really are, dude. Like they get manipulated so easily. It sucks. I feel bad for them. People are bringing up Atlas, pump and dumps, man. And again, I've been saying this for years too, which is that penny stocks, bro, have very little edge. Very little edge. A large majority of people are going to lose. Even if you have a edge strategy, which is almost impossible to back test because a new penny stock runs every day. It's very difficult to back test penny stock strategies. And I think that's what a lot of the penny stock gurus bet on because it's impossible to test. Like, you can't tell if these strategies are actually reliable or not because you get a new penny stock with a different float size, a different dynamic, a different nuance show up every day. And so how are you going to be able to back test to see if that specific crazy good strategy really actually works? It's impossible to test, and so the penny stock gurus sell you a course on all these super high edge strategies. And then a lot of them just pump the stock up to their following, right? Like a lot of them, if they have a large enough following, they'll tell the whole following to buy a specific stock. They'll pump it up, 100%. And then they're probably front loading. So they probably bought it 30 minutes before that. They probably bought 10,000 shares 30 minutes before that. They pump it up to their following, artificially inflate the price because of their following, and then sell on their following for liquidity. And it's called front loading, and make, some of them make a lot of money pumping up stocks like Atlas did. And some other YouTubers that are still doing it too. So they make 10 or 20K from it. And then what do? They sell you a course on how to make money trading penny stocks, but you're not going to be able to make money like that because you don't have a following like that. It's an incredibly sketchy market. And again, y'all just have to be careful, man. Like there's a lot of in the end, I always say the same thing, which is that a large majority of trading content in general is publicly available for free. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to pay for a course. You don't have to follow stock picks. You can find it all for free and learn how to trade for free is what I would do. Here's Tesla, guys. So Tesla all the way at 206. We're really getting sideways action ahead of GDP data. GDP is expected at 3.4% today, so a pretty high reading. Nah, Benzinga doesn't do that. Yeah, I mean, them too tiny. Oh, yeah, Aaron definitely played along. Do you think Lucid has the potential to squeeze? I mean, it has the potential to, but it's probably not going to. Again, the problem is that a lot of these are up-and-coming EVs, right? So again, you have to think about the logic of consumerism in these sectors. And what I mean by that is, like, you have to think about if you were trying to buy an electric vehicle, right? You're trying to buy an EV. All right, think about it like this. Here's the thought experiment. You're trying to buy an EV. Are you going to buy an up-and-coming EV brand that nobody's ever heard of? You know, you're going to spend $60K on an up-and-coming EV brand that nobody's ever heard of? Probably not. You know, I mean, take yourself outside of the stock market at least. Like, if you've never traded stocks, you probably never heard of Lucid. You know, are you going to buy an up-and-coming EV brand that nobody's ever heard of? Probably not. You know, what are you going to buy? You're going to buy an established automaker or Tesla. You know, and so that means for these up-and-coming EV brands, they're going to have a lot of trouble selling cars. They're not going to have a lot of people that actually want to buy them. You know, their production numbers are going to be dwindling, as they have. Specifically, Lucid has fallen drastically. You know, it's at $4 a share. You know, and again, the bag holders in it are going to say short squeeze, you know, the hedgies, you know, shorts covering. They're going to give you all these buzzwords to talk you into not selling. But it's incredibly sketchy. You know, maybe it rips up. It might. You know, it's down so much already. I mean, it could bounce. But again, is it going to bounce back up over highs? Almost certainly not. Yeah, TNX, the 10-year yield as equities fall. 10 years at 4.95%. 4.95% yields on the 10-year treasury. So, yeah, the yields are pushing back up. The highs are 4.997 over the last couple of days since the 23rd, although we did pop over 5% for a little while, I think. So, yeah, 10-year yields pushing up. Will GDP and Amazon save the market? I hope so, but who knows? I don't know, but EV is not a scam. I hear people say that again. And again, everybody's gonna be mad at me by the end of it, and that's okay. EVs aren't a scam. EVs are more efficient than actual, internal combustion engines, right? And I don't mean environmentally. You know, people always throw out the environmental argument. And again, you got to understand, big oil runs the world. A lot of people are arguing big oil talking points and arguments because I promise EVs are the biggest threat to oil. You know, we're always going to need lubricants. I do want to clarify, like, we're always going to need lubricants, regardless of whether the motor is run by EV or internal combustion motor. We're always going to need, like, motor oil. All right, I do want to make that point incredibly clear. But when you take a look outside of that, and we're not talking about environment implications, we're talking about purely efficiency, speed, mileage, driving. EV wins everything. You know, again, EVs are faster. You know, the Tesla Plaid, 9-second flat quarter-mile stock. That's like a freaking drag car stock. Crazy fast. And it's silent while he does it. So less road noise, more quiet vehicle, better ride. That most people say much better ride. It can basically drive itself So more meshing with technology, better meshing with technology. Way better mileage. What, it gets anywhere between 295 to 400 miles per charge. You could charge it at home. You got to pay less money for gas. Like, in terms of efficiency, EV is obviously the better thing, right? That doesn't always mean EV wins long term, though, because again, big oil certainly recognizes that threat, and they're going to talk a lot of people into arguing their side. But when you look at things, when you take a step back and you look at the efficiency of it, generally better efficiency wins. And so that's kind of what we see a lot is more efficient vehicles in EV in terms of speed, mileage, ride quality, technology. EVs tend to be obviously better, and you could argue the other side, but I don't know if it's really arguable. The only other nuanced part of that argument is the environmental implications, because the EVs are certainly more environmentally taxing to produce, specifically the lithium batteries, right? They're certainly worse for the environment to produce lithium batteries like that. But they also put out less emissions and exhaust. So that's the argument. I'm not saying which one's better or worse. I think that's super nuanced. But again, I'm taking out of that and just looking at the efficiency of it. Thoughts on Rivian? I think Rivian's got the best chance of succeeding. One of the better chances of succeeding for most EV companies. So again, they've got like a decent shot. Like Rivian's got a decent shot. Again, I don't know if they're going to succeed, but they got a decent shot at it. The reason I say that is because in my area, I see a lot of Rivian trucks, to be honest. Like I see a lot of Rivian trucks. A couple people in my neighborhood have them. All right, guys. So again, AMC at 920s here, 920s. Peach Jars left, speeches left her. Listen to a voice message from her stalker online. Bro, stalkers can be weird, man. Again, like we've had some stalkers in my last neighborhood that we lived in, man. I've told the story before. Yeah. Let me know if you want me to tell you again. I'll tell you the story again, but. All right, guys. Game 1. Diamondbacks versus the Rangers tomorrow, 7. Yeah. Do you think Rivian's partnership with Amazon is going to push them ahead? I think that it's definitely given them somewhat of an edge. Yeah, for sure, straight jacket. So Corey says everybody loves EVs until they have to change out a motor and find out how expensive that issue is. Straight jacket says, ever had to replace an internal combustion engine? It ain't cheap. It ain't cheap, you know. What's up, Smokey? You know, the interesting thing about, like, okay, so this is what you got to understand. You want to know why it's so cheap or so expensive to replace an EV is because when you replace the EV battery or the EV electric motor, it's basically like a brand new car, right? So it's basically like a brand new car. And so it's much different than, like, you know, once a internal combustion motor starts to get up high, it's just a different level of reliability, I think. Maybe I'm wrong though. I don't own one. Tesla down a lot at 206s. Yeah, I hope the Rangers win. I really do. I hope they win. All right, guys, we got 46 minutes. GDP data today, guys. Be ready. Jobless claims too. All right, guys, y'all ready? I bounced it up to 414.50s. Tesla at 207s roughly right now. Whew. All right. All right, guys, we're at 207s on the Tesla chart. Anything else y'all want to look at? Again, I'm watching 10-year Treasury yields. If we look at 10-year yields, at 4.97%, 4.97. That's what I'm showing at least. All right, team. So still popping back up a little bit. You can see Tesla move up some too as well. Again, let's see if it holds. All right, guys. So are we going to crash? Hit the like button here. We got almost 100 likes. We just need one more. Hey, what's up, Wesley? Hope market went green today. Yeah, I mean, again, it's been a weird market where we've had better than expected earnings, but market drops, right? So Meta had good earnings, dipped. Meta had good earnings, dipped. Google had good earnings, dipped. A bunch of other ones too. So Microsoft had good earnings, ripped. Now it's pulling back, but, you know, didn't push up as much as a lot of people thought. And I guess the only reason that could be there is because people are worried about tech not holding its gains. All right, so still pushing back up. We're hitting that 200 EMA volume weighted average price level. And again, I don't know if we're actually going to hold here or not. But we are bouncing back up, seeing a slight string of green when the market definitely freaking needs it right now. We still got 40 plus minutes until the actual GDP data drops. All right, team. John, I signed up for the combine using the link last night. I'm up 7 this morning. Wish me luck. Hey, good luck, LC. Love this market. As long as I get big moves to either side, I'm a happy camper. Hey, good luck, brother. Hey, what's up, Jonathan? Drive a SpaceX, Tesla, race, space rocket, or an old tech antiquated? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think gas power. I'm a car guy, believe it or not. Like, a lot of people hear me say this, but I'm actually a car guy. Like, I grew up. I'm mostly like JDM guy, So like, I like, basically, if you don't know what JDM means, it's Honda, and like Honda related like vehicles. So I grew up with the Fast and Furious. Was my favorite movie growing up. And so kind of the tuner culture is what I was into. I had an Eclipse. My first car was an Eclipse, like an old beater Eclipse, had like 200,000 miles on it. It was a 5-speed. It was really fun. It wasn't a turbo or anything, but it had the spoiler, the turbo spoiler. And so everybody thought it was a GSX, but it wasn't. But it was fun. So that was my first car. Then eventually I got a Prelude with an H22 in it, a 5-speed 97 Prelude. It was fun. It was fast too. It had VTEC, which is like valve timing and control. But and a lot of people thought the VTEC was a turbo, but it wasn't, because it kicks in at like a certain RPM like a turbo does. So it seems like a turbo split up. But the point is, I like cars, right? But I think EVs, but again, the thing with me, like I always wanted a Subaru WRX STI, right? Like 12-second quarter mile. But to be honest, part of me is like, well, why get that? Because you're still going to lose to a freaking Tesla. Like if I'm going to get a freaking crazy fast car, you might as well get a Model 3, 11-second quarter mile stock. You're going to beat most WRX STIs anyway. So gas-powered vehicles are struggling to keep up with the speed of EVs, is what a lot of people need to realize. So like the racing scene is going to go EV eventually, 100%. The racing scene is going to go EV eventually because they're just faster. They're faster stock, right? And I think that's the future. It's obviously the future. Why? Because they're faster, right? EVs are faster and more efficient in that regard. So it is what it is. I'm a little disappointed because I love cars. I love gas-powered cars specifically. But this is really one of those things where, I don't think the efficiency of a internal combustion motor is going to be able to keep up with the EV efficiency. I just don't, man. I think they're different. But we'll see. Let me know what you guys think. Will EVs beat the speed of gas-powered vehicles? Can y'all hear the music? Let me know. What's define emotion, Conrad? Because they lack sound, but that basically is it. As long as I get moves to either side, I'm happy. Yeah, we'll see. Again, the market's kind of stagnant right now. I mean, the SPY's moving up. Tesla's very flat. Look at the trend in Tesla. Tesla very sideways. You can kind of see it here. And Tesla very sideways, very neutral. Yeah, the muscle cars were cool, but they're way past their time, and yeah, hybrids make sense. They'll probably go hybrid to a certain extent as well, where it's a hybrid of both. Yeah, Tesla the Plaid is faster than 3 seconds. I think the 0 to 60 for the Tesla Plaid is 2.2 seconds, I believe. Which is, again, a lot of people don't understand how fast that actually is. That is crazy fast, like almost scary to drive fast. Like that's a drag car. 2.2 second quarter mile or 2.2 second 0 to 60 is a drag car. People don't understand, but those things are freaking ridiculous. And that's what I'm saying. Like I'm disappointed because it means that the tuner scene is going to go away from a certain extent from gas powered cars to EVs. But it's also kind of cool to get excited about a new niche of vehicle. You know what I mean? No, I think he said he's never going to come out with a motorcycle. Look at that Ford. Again, Ford actually didn't have their earnings. Ford is up because they actually signed a deal to end the UAW strike. So Ford and the UAW reached a tentative deal to end the strike. We'll put these numbers up on screen. So again, you can kind of see this news below me. Ford and UAW reached a tentative deal here. So again, that strike is done for Ford. They're next going to move on to the other automakers. Again, GDP releases at 8:30. We got 36 minutes left. I don't know if the market wants a higher or lower number. All I can really do is ask, guys, do y'all think the market wants a higher or lower number for this? I don't know. I really don't know. I think it could go either way. I think inflation fears would want a lower number. All right, so again, SPY's still pushing up. We're almost to 415. The 200 EMA volume weighted average price is still right above us here. So we'll see if we hit it or not, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, ALB, it doesn't take hours to charge. It takes about 20 minutes for the most part to charge like a Tesla or something like that at one of their chargers. Again, people always say that, but again, they're exaggerating the downside to make an argument regarding EVs. And again, I have a gas powered car. I don't have an EV, right? Like it's not like I have an EV and I'm just kind of pushing what I have, right? I'm trying to look at it as objective as possible. But again, the thing you have to understand is that EVs, you charge at your home overnight, right? So you charge at your home overnight. And when you wake up, you have almost 300 miles in mileage that you can drive, which is going to be plenty for anybody throughout the day for the most part, right? So the only time you're really going to run into trouble with charging is when you drive long distances, which is a very niche scenario. It's a very kind of, small, volume scenario. You know what I mean? And even in those cases, Tesla charges in about 20 minutes, from my understanding. They say it varies, but 20 to 30 minutes. So having to stop for 20 or 30 minutes to charge it should be understandable, I think. But again, it's going to happen such a small percentage of the time that it's not really a big argument, in my opinion. You know, uh, do we expect higher GDP? Well, they're expecting higher GDP than last time for sure. Last time we came in at what? It was like 2.9. This time we're expecting 2.1 last time. This time we're expecting 4.3. So a really big jump in GDP quarter over quarter expectations for the third quarter here for GDP. Again, 4.3% is what they're expecting. We also have jobless claims expected at 208K. So 208,000 expectation for jobless claims. Durable good orders expected at 0.2%, which are all really relevant, stuff. Do some research into which countries have the most lithium in the world and connect the dots and what's going on, who's pushing. Yeah, I mean, I feel you, but again, I'm not talking about it. Again, I understand the environmental implications of lithium production. I understand that in lithium mining and production of EVs is what I meant to say. But yeah, I understand the environmental implications. And again, that's what I talked about earlier, which is I understand there's certainly an argument for the negative environmental effects of EVs production, right? But, the other argument is like you probably make that back with less emissions, and so it's certainly arguable there. But again, my argument doesn't have anything to do with that. My argument is based off purely speed and mileage efficiency, drive quality, mileage, and speed efficiency. And I think in that regard, EVs are obviously good. It's not, again, they're obviously better. They're faster, they're more reliable, they get you farther for less, and they're cheaper in terms of gas, and they're more meshing with technology, so they drive themselves to a certain extent. GDP is much more impactful than jobless claims. Peter, without question, GDP is much more impactful. Jobless claims drops weekly. Jobless claims, to put that, and again, this is just my opinion, I might be wrong, but jobless claims drops weekly. It's how many people are filing for unemployment. Jobless claims is the unemployment numbers per weekly data. So, but again, GDP is much more relevant, much more important than those numbers for sure. We got 30 minutes until these numbers come out, but yeah, GDP data is going to be watched much more heavily, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong though. I could be wrong. Again, I'm not saying that sarcastically. All right, so again, we're still pretty sideways. Like we pushed up to the 200 EMA volume weighted average price right around 414.90. Hey, how's it going? All right, guys. So again, we're testing that 200 EMA volume weighted average price level. Now, this is a level that we talk about a lot here on this channel. This level specifically right here, the purple and gold lines that you can see right here and right here. These are very relevant milestone levels that you should be paying attention to, like without question, I think. Yeah, GDP at 4.3%. It's a pretty big jump quarter over quarter. You know, the last one came in at 2.1%. So again, that's a pretty big bump, in all honesty. That's a pretty big jump. All right, team. So watching for some type of edge here. Look at Tesla start to pop back over the 200 EMA volume weighted average price. It's trying to bounce. We'll see if it holds. But look at the Tesla pop. It's at 207.30s right now. 207.30s. Yeah, man. I've been watching these catfish. There's a YouTube channel called Catfished. Bro, some of these people, man. Like, it's interesting because they think they're in a relationship with celebrities. One thought they were in a relationship with Johnny Depp. The other one thought they were in a relationship with Dacker Montgomery from Stranger Things. The other one thought they were in a relationship with Chris Brown. Like, bro, and like, look, I'm not judging these people, but they're not super attractive people. Some of them are like old ladies and old men, right? And so it's like, what could drive some of these people to think that they're in an online relationship with these people, bro? I think, you know, I don't know. Highly entertaining, though. I recommend everybody go watch it. It's just, I feel bad for some of them. Some of them I don't feel any empathy for, any sympathy for at all. Bro, I'm all beat up though. My neck hurts, my throat hurts from getting Ezekiel choked again yesterday. I got Ezekiel choked again yesterday. But apparently what my coach said was that the first time I got Ezekiel choked that made my trachea hurt, they said it wasn't right. They said the Ezekiel choke wasn't actually correct, because if my trachea hurts, it wasn't actually a correct one. That, you know, so when I got Ezekiel choked yesterday, it didn't hurt as much. Like my throat doesn't hurt as much as it did the first time. I didn't actually tap to the Ezekiel choke either. I got out of it. He ended up rolling over from Mount. He ended up. I was in bottom guard, so I had him in full guard, and then he locked in the Ezekiel choke, and then he spun around and basically let me get full mount, and then I escaped. But I'm pretty good on the ground, at least with other white belts. Like, I can usually take people down and hold them there. And so I think they're starting to drill different chokes that they can get on me from the ground. He mentions the job market dozens of times during FOMC, and he mentions it as a main driver in the decision behind rates. Sure, but again, like, and I understand why, like, a base level of logic might look at that, Peter. But you also have to understand that jobless claims drops once a week. And so the dilution of economic data in jobless claims is certainly there. Like, jobless claims drops weekly. And so whenever you get something that drops 4 times a month, you get less eyes on each individual drop. You know what I mean? And so jobless claims is important. I'm not saying it's not important, but quarterly GDP data today is way more important than jobless claims. Again, for the market in general. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but what do you guys think? Is jobless claims today or GDP more important? All right, so is GDP or jobless claims more important for market impact today? That's the question. Good question. It's all good. We can agree to disagree. Don't worry, mate. It gets better. Main thing is to survive in the beginning. Yeah, I mean, I'm doing more than surviving. And I know white belts kind of have to just survive, right? But I'm actually pretty solid. Like, I've got a really good guillotine. I mean, if I like roll with a purple belt or a brown belt, I'm getting destroyed, which is normal, right? But I beat most of the other white belts, I would say. Not all of them. Like, there's some that can definitely handle me a little bit better. But I'm really flexible, and I've got good takedowns and a really good guillotine. And so if somebody tries to take me down, usually I can sink in a guillotine and drag them to the ground and tap them out pretty quickly. And aside from that, I usually end up taking them down and then just kind of, either trying to arm triangle them or get their back and rear naked choke them or whatever. But I'm okay. Again, I'm not going to say I'm great or good. I'm a terrible white belt, but I do okay against the other white belts, at my gym. So GDP. Yeah, I mean, jobless claims drops weekly. Pickleball, maybe. Yeah, maybe that's the next thing we do. Again, we are starting to get a test of the 200 EMA volume weighted average price. You can see we popped up to this level. We're trying to hold. Again, we'll see if we do. %15 of Americans have an IQ under 75. I think that's the reason. I don't think it's 15%, bro. That's a large percentage, dude. 15%, bro. Honestly, though, man, if you watch some of these catfish episodes, I mean, listen, I'm not saying they deserve it, but I also think it's Darwinism to a certain extent. Like we had this old biker chick lady who literally thought she was in a long-term relationship with Johnny Depp, and she was sending him money in gift cards. It's like, hey, I'm Johnny Depp. I got, I got 100 million net worth, but like, I need you to send me a Walmart gift card. Okay. Like, I'm not saying she deserved it, but she like left her husband and was talking bad about her husband and like all this different stuff. And one of them, again, I said this yesterday. One of them was like, yeah, my husband's toxic. He tries to control and watch my spending too much. What a jerk, And then she sends $10,000 to would-be, to fake online Dacre Montgomery, which is Billy from Stranger Things, in Walmart gift cards. It's like, lady, he should have been watching your finances, because as soon as you broke up with him, you sent a fake Dacre Montgomery $10,000 in Walmart gift cards, lady. Like, if I was him, I'd be watching you, Like, come on now. But it's entertaining. It could just be fake, and so maybe the joke's on me. I agree. We need GDP to come in cooler than expected. No argument there. I just think with Powell speaking in 5 days, jobless claims will be more influential in his tone being hawkish or dovish. Maybe. Maybe. Again, I don't think so. I think GDP quarter over quarter is still way more relevant and important. But I can agree jobless claims might have a little bit more impact this week, specifically with the FOMC meeting in less than a week from now. So you might be right. Yeah, I'm still talking about the catfish lady. Mostly I'm just filling time. We still got 20 minutes before GDP and jobless claims comes out. So if I sit here quiet, people complain. If I talk about other stuff besides the market, people complain. In the end, like I said, y'all could cry about it. You'll be okay. Yeah, I mean, Tesla and the SPY move pretty similarly. It's because Tesla's a heavily weighted stock, and it's tech in general, which is having the biggest impact right now. So if we zoom out here, they're pretty similar. SPY is, I would say the SPY is doing a little bit better than Tesla lately. Tesla's been falling pretty fast. I don't know if the market's rigged. I think big money always has an edge and influence. And so big money influences the market, and retail traders at best they can to pad their own positions. And I think that's been going on for a long time before the stock market even existed. And so I think you have to understand that nuance of the market, which is that big money has a profound edge in terms of not just being able to get higher rated investment, vehicles, but also influencing retail traders to do what they want them to do. You know what I mean? So that they could profit from the back end of that. I think that's very universally true with not just the stock market, but every market and investment class. And it's something that people need to understand for sure. And so you don't want to guess what retail traders are doing. You want to guess what the banks are doing and what the banks want you to do. But it's a hard thing to do. Amazon numbers come out tomorrow, or this evening, I mean. Yeah, some algorithms control the market for sure. Forward looks good. Giving people small things to complain about makes them happy. Yeah, for sure. I think human nature likes to complain. I know I certainly do. Definitely top 3 complainers in the world right now. Is the ECB interest rate decision today? I don't think it is. Is it? I don't know. Oh, yeah, it is today. So the ECB interest rate decision's in 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. Expectations are 4% versus 4% last time. So expectations, and again, they just came out at 4%. So unchanged. ECB decision just came out unchanged relative to the last time. The rate decision was at 4.5%, 4.5% expected. Last time was 4.5%. So another skip or pause or whatever you want to call it for the ECB, similar to what we'll probably do next Wednesday. The ECB decided to skip or pause today. So that's what we see. Again, ECB skip or pause. They did not raise rates. They did not cut rates. They skipped or paused. And again, we'll put this up on screen so you guys can see. 4.5% is where they stayed at versus 4.5% last time. That number up right there. Thanks when you use your debt. Yeah. Doge to the moon or my average. Yeah. Nice candle. Yeah, I mean, look at the SPY rip. ECB pausing, I guess, causing this, but I don't know if it'll have that big of an influence. Again, there's Tesla trying to make it back over too. Maybe we do see sub 400 in the SPY in 4 more business days by the end of by the end of the month. Maybe. I mean, again, the FOMC meeting Wednesday will be big. Amazon earnings this evening will be big. Tomorrow's PCE inflation report will be big, and whether the market likes it or dislikes it is going to depend on what GDP looks like today, I think, as well as some other nuance with Amazon. But again, we got ECB decision just came out. They paused or skipped, and now you can see the market actually dipping back down under the 200 EMA volume weighted average price. And so that's important to watch. Again, Amazon earnings today in a period where a lot of tech stocks have tanked the market. Definitely we're gonna stream the entire Amazon earnings release and call, as well as the PCE data tomorrow, as well as GDP data today. So, dude, I hate it when freaking companies post such late earnings calls, man. 5:30, so we're gonna have to wait an hour and a half after earnings are released to cover it. All right, guys, 13 minutes. All right, team. It's time. GDP data coming out. All right, guys. So look at Tesla pop back up over the 200 EMA volume weighted average price is at almost 208s right now, almost 208s. We still got 12 minutes or so before the numbers come out. Amazon beat and still will go down. Yeah, I mean that's the trend of tech so far, at least. Meta beat still went down. Google beat still went down. Microsoft beat. Microsoft actually had a pretty good result, but again, they're dipping down. They're still green relative to when their earnings came out, but they actually held the green at least, which is good. And so yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Nando says also not married to any one belief. I think that may be the key to playing the markets. I absolutely agree. I think you have to be flexible in what you think. And I think a lot of people get really wrapped up in either like one political side. And so they really push that element and whatever that means. Maybe they dislike the administration, so they want the market to fall. So that's all they see is market fall, right? And then others like really like one specific stock and, you know, they stay too rigid with that specific stock, refuse to let go and lose money that way. I think in stock trading, you have to be flexible. You know, and you got to just kind of understand, you got to look for an edge wherever you can find it. I don't think you can necessarily try to be like a super moral trader. I think you have to just do what you got to do in stocks to make money. $400 is definitely a psychological level, you know. Same thing with like Tesla at 200 down here is definitely a psychological level for Tesla. Nvidia right around 400 as well. The Q, so the NASDAQ basically, right around 350, which is a pretty big level, dipped under 350 yesterday. The previous closing price on the Q is 350. So again, we'll see. We got 9 minutes here, 9 minutes before these numbers drop, team. I'm optimistic, and I think we'll be slightly green. Yeah, we'll see. I hope so. I mean, I hope we're green today. I don't ever want the market to fall or go down. All right, guys, we still got 9 minutes though. A little bit less than 9 minutes, but that's okay. So is the government overseas really doing the zero emission narrative that's going to charge people 15 cents a day if they have a gas car older than 2006 or a diesel car older than 2015? 16 cents a day. Let's see how many years. So that's $60 a year. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but I don't know if it's good. I think it's a little out there. Yeah, Bitcoin, guys. So a lot of people have been gravitating towards Bitcoin lately, especially with all the craziness going on. Bitcoin's still under 35,000 though. It tapped 35K again yesterday. Didn't quite hold over it though. But Bitcoin's another nuance. And again, GDP today is expected at 3.4%, guys. 3.4%. It's very high relative to what we've seen previously. You can see the timer on the top right. Yeah, maybe it's just fear stuff going on social media. I'm not sure. All right, guys. Love you, buddy. How you doing today, man?
Good, I guess.
Good, buddy. I love you, dude. Love you, buddy. Love you. Hey, bud, come here. All right, so market's still pushing up. You can see the SPY still trying to hold at 415. All right, guys. So, again, GDP data coming out. Love you guys. GDP data coming out in 5 minutes exactly, guys. 5 minutes exactly. We got about 750 people here. And so, again, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. I appreciate the love and support if you haven't already. I'm also going to put it in sub-only mode. So, if you want to support the channel, slap the sub button, hit the notification bell, guys. We appreciate it. And get rid of UPS numbers. UPS stock to the news. And again, we'll see if we get some good data releases today, guys. Love you guys. Oh, you guys put the Minecraft thing up. Hey, that's cool. Love you guys. Yeah, is that what it is? An iron golem? I don't know. Love you guys. All right, guys. Hey, you guys ready? Let's see what we get. Hopefully, we get some good stuff. Again, jobless claim numbers expected in 4 minutes. GDP data expected at 3.4%. Jobless claims expected at 208,000. I'm talking to my kids. I mean, I love all you guys too for supporting the channel, but like, I love my kids more. You know, I would use y'all as human shields if I needed to protect my children. All right, guys. Bitcoin at 34.3 thousand. It might have some influence over crypto. I'm not 100% sure how much movement it's going to have over crypto. It might have some. We'll see. Again, we're almost up to 208s. Again, the SPY at 415s or so, 415s. Again, Tesla at 208s. Y'all want anything else besides Tesla? Maybe like the dollar index, maybe like gold, maybe crypto. See how they're going to react to everything. Let me know what you guys would rather in the chat. Put that number up. Again, we are in sub-only mode. So again, slap the sub number. If you haven't already, guys, hit the notification bell if you want to help support the channel. And everybody announce yourself. Show us that you're subscribed. We still got 2.5 minutes left before this data releases here. The SPY sitting right over the 200 EMA volume weighted average price. I could also put the Q up. Dollar index, NASDAQ, plus 5.5%. We'll see. Puts for the win. Hey, we'll see, guys. Again, it's not really clear which one the market wants either. We don't know if the market wants higher or lower jobless claims. We really don't. Higher or lower GDP data. We don't really know. Higher GDP data can be good for economic growth, but bad for inflation problems, right? And so it's a really weird, nuanced market. The Q today has had a lot of up wicks and down wicks. Very strange. I could put up the NASDAQ instead. Here's the NQ. And so we'll see if we get some upward or downward movement. Here's the NASDAQ 100 futures contract. We got a minute and a half left. But again, I don't know if we're going to get good or bad stuff. Y'all make sure you hit the live button next to the play button. Hey, thank you so much. Again, hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're fully called up on stream. Here we go, guys. 1 minute. Markets will continue to dump regardless. Maybe. Will the markets go up or down from these reports, guys? We got less than a minute. The SPY's starting to push up a little bit. It's at 415s. A little bit over 415s. The NASDAQ 100 is at 14.36, 14.35 right now. Again, less than a minute. Make sure you hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're fully caught up on stream. We also have durable good orders today, guys. So we got jobless claims, durable good orders, and the GDP report, which is pretty big. All right, again, jobless claims, durable good orders, GDP data coming out today. 20 seconds, guys, 20 seconds. Here we go. All right, here we go. 10 seconds, 5 seconds. Actually, I'm sorry. All right, here we go. Here's GDP data right now. Core durable goods came in at 0.5% higher than expected at 0.5%. GDP came in at 4.9%, noticeably higher at 4.9% versus 4.3% expected. Jobless claims came in higher than expected at 1.79K versus 1.74K expected. So what I mean is, continuing claims came in at 1.79 million. Initial claims for jobless numbers came in at 210 versus 208. So higher than expected jobless claims, higher than expected GDP, higher than expected durable good orders. And the market is liking this data. Look at this push up here. Again, so the market's liking this report. It kind of needs a good reaction to this report right now. Look at the market rip on the GDP data. Again, we talked about it and showed you guys why. So again, durable good orders, jobless claims numbers, GDP all higher than expected. GDP specifically at 4.9%, way higher than expected. And it looks like the market likes this report here. It looks like it likes this report. We're going to put it up in chat right there so you can see it. And again, subscribe if you haven't yet. We cover this data very quickly. Like the reason we get over 1,000 people here is because we cover it fast relative to everybody else. And so hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We appreciate the love. There's the GDP report. There's jobless claims. And then again, durable goods came in at 0.5% versus I believe 0.2%. So durable goods came in higher than expected. What did core durable goods come in at? Because core durable goods is the more relevant durable good release. 0.5 versus 0.2% for core. So yeah, that is the releases today. Market so far has seemed to like it. It doesn't mean it's going to hold. And again, on a day in which we got Amazon earnings and a couple other things, hopefully we continue to see some more bullish action from this report. Again, so higher jobless claims signals less people working, right? Which is conventionally bad. GDP data came in higher than expected, which is conventionally good. And again, the market hasn't really responded much, though. You know, we popped up a little bit on GDP. We popped up a little bit on, this report, but it wasn't a crazy increase or anything like that. Now, I hope this sparks like a big bull rally, team. I really hope it does, but like, who freaking knows? Yeah, indexes. We'll see. And again, if you haven't already, check out Top Step. If you want to day trade these economic reports and just day trade in general, the futures market is where most pro day traders trade. You can day trade the S&P. You can basically day trade the right side, which is the NASDAQ. It's essentially the price action of the Q, but there's no PDT rule. You can day trade essentially the SPY called the E-mini in futures. You can day trade currencies, gold and silver. The patterns are very similar to large blue chip day trading patterns, but there's no PDT rule. So you can day trade short. You can buy market, buy bid, sell the ask, just like stocks. But there's no PDT rule. See, I can buy market, buy bid, sell the ask at the NQ, just like stocks, but there's no PDT rule. And Top Step is the most legit funded program. They give you a demo. They test your skill. If you can hit the target on the demo without hitting the max loss and following their rules, they fund you the same amount. The base one's $50K. So if you pass it, you get $50K in funding. It's only $49. So if you lose, you're only out basically $50. And that's a huge edge because it limits your risk, still teaches you how to trade under pressure, but with limited risk. And if you're good enough to pass it, you still get a 90% split. They pay out millions every year, fund thousands a year. You can keep your first 10K in profit as well. And so the reward is very similar, but just less risk than putting up the money yourself. Confirm all of this with them. They're a sponsor of mine. I'm definitely biased in their favor. But if you want to check it out, here is the link. It's a great way to help support your boy here in this channel. All right, so there's GDP. Bond yields falling down a little bit. So again, bond yields at 4.94%. So bond yields are dropping a little bit with this increase in the SPY. Again, SPY is bouncing back up. We're back up to 416s on the SPY. You can see the NASDAQ up as well. Let's see if crypto's reacting to this at all. Bitcoin's up a little bit on this report. Let's see what gold's doing. Gold's underwhelming reaction, so gold's not really moving that much. Again, bond yields are falling down, which is kind of what you want to see if the market pushes up. I'm sure that's similar to dollar index, which is probably moving down. Yeah, so dollar index is moving down as well. And so far, so good. Pretty bullish reaction here to this data. Now, it's interesting because, we have the FOMC meeting next week, right? And so that might be a big influence over markets and everything like that. And again, we're going to get ready to day trade this report. Let's see if we get something good so we can attack in futures. All right, so I'm going to look for a small dip so I can buy the potential dip if we get it. All right, so there's a little dip. I'm going to go ahead and buy the dip. It doesn't mean much. We're going to see. Here's the NASDAQ. We got one contract at the NASDAQ. We just bought the dip. Again, the goal is to build up a cushion right now. So I want to build up a cushion first with these type of trades. We got a pretty good reaction to GDP reports. And so I'm looking for a small little bounce here. You can see we're down about $60 on the trade right now. Goal is to build up a cushion to get a small win from this trade first. All right, so we just made about $75 really quickly there in futures, day trading futures. You can see we are up. What account is this? Yeah, you see, we made a little bit more than that actually. So again, today we are up a cool $95 on that one trade. So basically a $100 gain here. You can see we're trading the NASDAQ, which is basically the Q. If you look at the Q right here, it's basically the same thing. So we caught this little pullback and rode the bounce back up. The problem with the Q is these weird up wicks and down wicks on the chart. But again, small little winning trade there. We got a nice little cushion. Again, the goal is to build up a cushion of a couple $100 first, and then we can take larger size from that, right? So with these funded account programs, that's what we try to do, is build up that cushion. So if we can build up a cushion of a couple $100, great. If not, it's not the end of the world, and we can if not, it's not the end of the world. We can just get out for a small loss. But if we're good enough to build up that cushion, then we can scale up a little bit larger size. Maybe we could have held on to it a little bit more, but it is the NASDAQ 100, which moves very, very quickly. 250 by the end of the year. NVIDIA is not going to be 250. What'll be 250 by the end of the year? Definitely not the SPY. NVIDIA will be 500 end of year. Again, do you guys think this GDP data is good or bad for markets? Let me get the timer out the way. We did catch that little bounce on the NASDAQ. Again, do y'all think this GDP data is good or bad for markets? Again, is the market still fearing inflation? We're going to do a poll on Twitter with GDP data showing 4.9%. Is the market still fearing inflation? So we're going to do a poll. All right, so now we're dipping down a little bit more. I don't know if I'm confident enough in this specific one to buy this dip yet. I think we still got to wait and be a little bit more patient than this. Again, oil prices falling down some pretty quickly here. All right, so we did get a little pop at the top band of the NASDAQ 100 VWAP level. So let me see what everybody said. Good for economic growth, fearing recession more, rate hike more likely. I don't know. Let's look to see the odds after GDP data is released in terms of the CME Group Fed Watch tool. Again, we got 6.5 days until the FOMC meeting comes out. A large majority of the market is expecting now. And this pivoted. They were expecting a rate cut at some points, but I think with higher GDP, that means more inflation fears, right? So nobody's expecting a rate cut anymore. They're now 2.4% expecting a 25 basis point rate hike. And you can see 98% of people think we're going to pause or skip still here. So we'll refresh that to see if anything new shows up. But yeah, so basically 97.7%. So 98% of people still think we're going to pause or skip. 2.3% of people think we're going to raise rates. So very low probability that we're going to raise rates. Look, here's a dip in the NASDAQ now. So my NASDAQ is dipping down some here. Yeah, I don't know if you should buy or sell the Dow travel. Nobody does, man. I wonder who goes to streams asking who genuinely asks these questions. Are you really, if some random YouTuber said buy, are you actually going to buy? If you are, then you got a gambling problem, be smart, man. Nobody knows what anything's going to do, especially the Dow, especially the Dow, especially the Dow. Dow's kind of a different animal. NVIDIA pulling back a little bit, but had a nice little bounce up. We'll see if it holds. Back up to 412s. Again, here's the NASDAQ. Part of me wants to buy this, but I also don't trust it enough. We do have a cushion on the day, though. Jobless report was conventionally bad. Higher than expected jobless claims signals less people working, which might be seen as better for inflation problems, but we don't know. All right, team. All right, team. Hey, let's see if we get a bounce right now. We're close to it. The Q's starting to test the volume weighted average price. Again, we're trying here. We got a little bull flag pattern showing up, so maybe we'll get a bounce. But again, I don't trust it enough to actually take the leap and buy anything right now. I need a higher edge setup first, I think. But yeah, E-mini pushing up. Yeah, definitely top 3 best interviews ever, Jeff. Thanks so much. Hey, can you trade currencies with Top Step? You can trade some of them. Let me see what's available. You trade some of them. Let me see. So you can trade. You can trade some treasury bonds. You can trade the 10-year note, the 2-year note, the 5-year note, the 10-year ultra note, the ultra bond, the euro dollar. They might have changed it though. Let me see. You can trade the euro dollar, the GE. Oh, okay. So yeah, you can trade some foreign exchange futures. You can trade the Australian dollar, the Canadian dollar, the Japanese yen, the E-mini Euro FX, the micro dollar, the New Zealand dollar, the British pound, the Euro FX, the Swiss franc, the micro Euro FX, the Mexican peso as well. So you can trade all those. You can also trade the micro ETH, the micro Bitcoin, and the micro E Russell, the micro Nasdaq, the micro E Mini, the E Mini S&P, the E Mini Nasdaq, the E Mini Russell, the micro ETH. I think I said that one already. So yeah, you can trade lean hogs, cattle prices, all that good stuff. We did get a pop up here. But I don't know how. Let me see. So in terms of here's the E Mini Euro FX, right? So it's E7. Should be E7, Z3 as the symbol. Yeah. All right. So here's the Euro FX. What was the button that allows it to refresh? Somebody said. Okay, there we go. So yeah, here's the E Mini Euro FX. So I mean, you can trade the euro. So you can trade some stuff for sure. That's what I'm trying to tell people. Like, a lot of people should realize that, like, Forex is such a hard market with so much red tape. The futures market has so much less red tape, you know. It's actually allowed. You don't need a VPN, you know, or all this crazy stuff. Tesla deep in money puts came yesterday before close. Yeah, I'm not going to show the ECB conference. Hey, thanks, Philip, my guy. Thanks, man. Hey, thanks, Jeff. Appreciate the love, bro. Yeah, again, if you want to check out Top Step, here's the link. I'll put it up in chat if you want to see it. I don't know about NVIDIA. I really don't know what NVIDIA is going to do. NVIDIA at 411s right now, 411. So NVIDIA pulling back a little bit. And so that the reason I'm not buying anything right now in stocks or futures is because I'm worried about higher wages helped push consumer spending. Yeah, we got the 4.9% right here. So we talked about it right there. It's up. All right, so we dipped under that level here. We're still waiting. We're still watching this. All right, guys, the SPY at 416s here. Again, the NASDAQ finally starting to pull back a little bit, so the NQ is starting to dip some. QuantumScape, so QS, you mean? I don't know enough about it to really say yes or no. It's a penny stock. I don't really trust it. NVIDIA pulling back. I'm going to buy this dip right here. Now, it's a little sketchy to buy this dip in the NASDAQ especially, but I see NVIDIA pulling back to the VWAP. I think it looks like a good bounce level here. All right, we're up 40. All right, boom. We just made another $70 really quickly trading the NASDAQ here. Again, I thought we could get a little bounce there after that pullback, and so we were pretty smart with our dip buy. We're up about $170 right now in futures. Building that cushion that we always talk about, like if you caught the Top Step interview, My main job is to build up a cushion in the morning, right? So like my goal is to build up a good cushion that I can swing with for the rest of the day, right? And if I can do that, great. Then I can take larger risks. I'm allowed to take larger risks after I do it, and if I don't do it, then it's all good. I can just bow out for the rest of the day. No stress, no worries. And so in that regard, that's what I try to do is just build up those cushions first and then take swings using it. That way, if I lose after I build up the cushion, I'm kind of back to square one. I'm back to break even. Like it's not the end of the world. I don't have to worry too much about having these big drawdowns. Like a lot of day traders struggle because they have these huge drawdowns in their account. So they have these big pullbacks, these big deflating, drawdowns in their account. Where if you just build up a small cushion first, then you're going to be able to take larger risks. And even if you lose after you take the larger risks, you're still back to square. You're still back to break even, right? So like what it allows you to do is have small losing days and big winning days, if that makes sense. Like that's the easiest, most effective way to pass Top Step as well is with these funded account programs. Like your job, like the base combine's 50K, right? So with that combine in mind, you can build up a pretty easy cushion. You can buy you can take one contract of the E-mini or multiple contracts of the micros and build up that $100 to $200 cushion. Once you have that $200 cushion, then you can trade the NASDAQ, you can trade the regular E-mini, and if you make money there, then you got like $400 or $500 gain, and then you can take even larger risk. And then before you know it, you're up $1,000. You could walk away, and then you're up a grand on the day. And if you lose after you build up the cushion, then you're back to break even. And you can either scale down your size and swing again, or just walk away with a break even day. That way, you're not really trading super large unless you have a cushion on the day. And if you do that right, it just makes perfect sense. And it allows you to build up cushions and pass these funded account programs much more easily. And again, if you want to check out the funded account programs, link is in the description. But yeah, I've never used Quantum Trader, Jay. Okay, yeah, and you got to really be careful about anybody pushing a specific platform. A lot of the time, like people send bots that promote some like obscure platforms and obscure services, and they're really just bots, insiders in the company, or they're just bots that are like, hey, have you ever checked out ABC company? They're the greatest. They've helped me earn $5,327.76 in the market today, guys. You see the YouTube bot comments a lot of the time. You can tell they're like written. They'll be like, trading in the market can be difficult, but it's much easier with Sam, with trading guru Sam. Sam has helped me earn $7,329.67 today. They always make it a specific number so it sounds more believable and real, right? And they're just hoping somebody buys it, right? You message those people, they're going to be like, kindly follow him on WhatsApp or Telegram. You message those people, they're just going to hope you're dumb enough to send them crypto. They're going to say, yeah, I'll manage your crypto for you. Go ahead and send it over to me. They're just hoping you're dumb enough to do it. You'll never see that crypto again. The other really tricky scams, guys, I say these a lot because they're very true. The other really sketchy crypto scams or scams in general are they'll create an account on YouTube and they'll send it thousands of bot like viewers. They're not real viewers. They're fake viewers, but they'll try to desperately make them look legitimate. So they'll try to hope you're going to buy it, right? And what they'll do is they'll splice old Elon Musk interviews or old Cathie Wood interviews or old CEO interviews together to look like it's an actual live stream. And they'll send it thousands of viewers. And then they'll say, hey, send me crypto. If you send me 1 Bitcoin, we'll send you 2 back. They'll say they're just scamming people, right? They're just hoping you're dumb enough to send the crypto. Those actually catch a lot of people. I've had a lot of people that I personally know reach out to me being like, yo, look, Elon Musk and Jack Dorsey are streaming right now, man. And they'll send me the link. And I'm like, hey, that's a scam link. And they're like, oh, no, it's not. I've been watching it for 2 hours. They're saying some pretty good stuff. And I'm like, no, it's a scammer. Like that interview happened 2 years ago. You know, they're not talking about anything new or specific. But it's tricky. You know, sometimes they'll even like have check marks. Like they'll look really legitimate. The way you'll have to vet them is you'll have to look at the history of their videos. Like you'll know if it's the real Tesla or the real Kathy Wood or not. But it's tricky for sure. Oh, Quant Tower's great, Jay. Quant Tower's great. I love Quant Tower. Quant Tower's nice. I use it pretty regularly. Yeah, bro. They're tricky, though, man. Some of them are good. Some of them are just dumb. But yeah, I looked up Quantum Trader, and I was like, sketch. But yeah, Quant Tower's great. I saw BKKT as a really sketchy crypto-related penny stock that barcodes and looks horrible and really has one of the worst long-term charts I've ever seen. If you look at BKKT and you look at an actual yearly chart, it's a terrible long-term chart. Put a weekly chart up, terrible. You know, and the problem is like this thing's got so many bag holders that are just stuck in this from way higher, like $50 plus. Look at the NASDAQ still ripping up, breaking highs. That's good. The market needs green today. But you got so many traders that are just stuck. Like they're just stuck in this from way higher. And so confirmation bias, they just they hope it goes up. And so they tell everybody how great of a company it is. But well, as a creator myself, Pawn, most of the time what you see, also, you know it's fake if you see one comment and then 30 seconds later, you get like 10 other comments talking to themselves, right? Because that's just not true organic comments, right? You know, real comments, you're not going to get 20 different people responding in a 5-minute period so quickly. Like that's not real organic comments. Like they're just meant to look like it. You know what I mean? So real comments are much more spread out than that. Like you might have one comment and then a day later you might have another and then a day later you might have another. You know, that's more realistic. But when you get 20 different comments all showing up under the video all at once, you know it's a scammer. You know what I mean? Yeah, for sure. Do you think we have a green day after what happened to Meta, which reported better than expected? I don't know. Meta didn't react super positively to it, though. Meta's actually down from this report. Now, it was better than expected. I think it's all going to be relative to Amazon this evening. You know, Amazon drops their earnings this afternoon, this evening, and so it's all going to be relative to that, what happens. Bro, I'm looking at your live, and your chart is 11 minutes in the future from my one on TradingView. How? You probably don't have real-time quotes. You got to pay for real-time quotes. It's like $5 a month to get the updated, quotes. But you probably don't have real-time quotes. Yeah, my nose is all stuffed up. I don't know why. Ugh. Yeah, I hope we have a green day. I really don't know, though. Yeah, trading view charts are delayed 15 minutes unless you pay for it. Thought I found a cheat. Nah, bro. Meta has the potential to be Amazon by doing online deliveries. They have the reach, but Amazon can never be Meta because they don't have social media. Yeah, I mean, you're looking at two different brands, though, and I understand that nuance, but like, again, you're looking at two different companies here. You know what I mean? So like, you're looking at companies in which Amazon, it's going to be hard for Meta to ever compete with Amazon mail order deliveries. right? It's going to be very, 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 very difficult for Amazon or for Meta to ever compete with Amazon in mail order deliveries. You know, Amazon is such a widely used service at this point in time. It's such a widely used service. Like a majority of the United States uses Amazon at least once a month, right? That's a huge freaking market monthly for Amazon, and it's going to be virtually impossible for Meta, a social media company, you know, which is also falling off a little bit. You know what I mean? Like Meta, like Facebook was big in my generation, right? For my generation, Facebook was big, but you know, the interesting thing about social media in general is that new generations change the trend of social media. So what I mean by that, it's one of the reasons I refuse to invest in fashion brands, because fashion brands are too risky generationally as well, if that makes sense, right? So, you know, one generation like my generation used Facebook. New generation, they don't want to use Facebook. They don't like Facebook at all. They don't want to use it. The only thing they use it for is potentially the marketplace, but it's kind of like eBay. And so they don't want to use Facebook. So they use something else. They use TikTok now or Instagram, even though Instagram is owned by Facebook. But the point is that trend's going to continue to change to where newer generations are going to use different social media platforms. And that's been pretty consistent in terms of trends, you know, throughout the social media history, the history of social media in general. So yeah, I don't know. I think Amazon's very strong, and it's just a different thing than Meta, you know. And I think Meta can try as hard as they want. They're not going to compete with Amazon in terms of mail order deliveries. I don't know. Crypto charts might not be delayed. Some of them might be, though. When your 80-year-old grandma's on Facebook, it's not the cool place to be. Yeah, 100%. Instagram is the cool place right now, but it's not going to stay that way for long. All right, so we are trending upward really nicely. And again, the market honestly really needed this. You know, so GDP data seems to be helping the market, but yeah, well, again, we'll see. We got 30 minutes left until the market opens, guys. 30 minutes. We got some votes. We asked people on Twitter, with GDP data showing 4.5 or 4.9%, is the market still fearing inflation? 60% say yes, 40% say no. So interesting. I guess I could end this YouTube poll as well. And so we're gonna go ahead and do another poll. I'll ask the same question here. GDP at 4.9% and next week's FOMC. The market's still fearing inflation, yes or no? Vote on that poll. Let us know what you guys think. Again, we can watch NVIDIA here, which is very relevant to everything too. Although the trend on NVIDIA still looks pretty solid. I mean, NVIDIA is starting to bounce up to 415s now, almost. PayPal went green on the day, slightly green. Equities are starting to look a little bit better. Charts. Yeah, some are delayed. Yeah, it'll have a D on top if it's delayed. Good. Comcast deserves the plunge. I think Comcast is in trouble. I've been saying them, Dish, AT&T, probably in a struggle. Do you think SoFi is a good buy at 7? I don't know. Earnings come out next week, so I think it's risky. Yeah, SoFi, I don't trust. I don't know well enough to really specify what I want them to do. Look at NVIDIA rip up. This is dragging the market back up, so maybe NVIDIA is going to break the previous closing price and actually go technically green on the day. We'll see. Again, we do have Amazon earnings coming out later. Pretty busy day for sure and everything. We're almost up to 117K again. Hit the subscribe button, team, if you haven't already. We're almost up to 117K. Push it towards that 120 level. We'll hit that before the new year for sure. We'll probably hit that in a month. But yeah, I was thinking about letting YouTube enter the ads for me when monetized, but since I cover a lot of economic reports, I worry that like they're going to enter an ad right before the economic report, you know, and so. Can't believe it's almost Xmas already. You got plans for Xmas this year? I'm not sure. Hey, what's up, Bulldog? Hope you're doing good, brother. Don't judge the day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds you plant. Hey, you as well, bro. Hope you're doing great, man. Again, NVIDIA's starting to fight back. Equities portfolio definitely looking better than it did. I mean, I don't mind ads. It just depends on when they show up. All right, so we start to get a little dip. We are in this trend on the NASDAQ here. I'm watching the Q, which is the NASDAQ. So you can kind of see it's the same price action down here versus up here. NVIDIA starting to reap down a little bit more. Tesla at 211s. So Tesla fighting back over 210s again. That's good. You guys red or green so far this week? We got one more day until the close of the week. All right, so starting to bounce up. Nvidia at 416s here. We'll see if Nvidia holds. GDP was very strong, much higher than expected, and that was with an already very high expectation relative to last time. So watching all markets mostly rebound from GDP data, which is interesting. Maybe the market's fearing a recession with all the red action we've had. I mean, that's possible for sure. Yeah, watching all the political stuff going on. Yeah, GDP super strong. We keep telling peeps we are fine. I don't know, man. I think I think you have to look at. They always say when in doubt, zoom out. And I think when we look at like tech on the year, tech has still had a really, really good year. And so I don't think 2 months of red action in a year where we were up 10% in tech really means too much. I mean, it's definitely not good, but like here's the Q, for instance, which is the NASDAQ 100 here. And like you can kind of see we did pull back some, of course, but again, like it doesn't discount this entire move that we've made leading up to it, on the last 52 weeks. And so I think we're still up pretty dramatically on the year. And again, we're nowhere near a crash scenario. I think ultimately, if we start to crack under $400 on the SPY, I think that's pretty bad. So looking at it in S&P terms, I think if we start to crack under 4,000, it's pretty rough. And again, we'll have to see. Again, it depends, but a lot of it has to do with Nvidia. What time is the data release? Dude, it might be right below me. The report might be right here. Weatherman it might be in this, this area. Aki, right here. We are going lower from here. I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, all good, Joe. We'll see if we hit 400 again. If we do, I think that's the big psychological level that I think we need to bounce at. But who knows? All right, so we're starting to rise up a little bit here, trying to make some moves. All right, so starting to test highs again on the NASDAQ. NVIDIA is starting to press. We still got 15 minutes before the market opens. We got a slight green number, but on the day, I mean, like slight green on the day. Again, NVIDIA at 416.50s. We'll see if it holds. That previous closing price on NVIDIA is right at 418. I think if we can break over that, it's a good sign. The NASDAQ pushing back up, just broke highs again on the day. The Q itself is at 349.10s. We're in a very obvious trend, and I think we can see the trend. It's pretty clear here. Let's watch my bad trend drawing skills. But I think the trend's very obvious. You can kind of see it there. I'm going to fix this angle a little bit. There. So I think that's the trend that we've been in. You know, you could also call it a flag pattern, but I think that's the trend. So we'll see if we actually crack it or break it. Again, a lot of this is due to NVIDIA. You know, NVIDIA has such a big influence. It's like the number 4 weighted stock in the S&P and the NASDAQ, as well as like it's one of the big reasons the market is up so much over the last year. And so a lot of eyes are on NVIDIA. We could also look at like Tesla here as well. Tesla all the way back up to 211s, 210s. The SPY is currently sitting at 417s, roughly 417.55 is the previous close. So a lot of stuff trying to go back green on the day after some pretty big pullbacks over the last few. Gap fill, I'm not sure. Any more important earnings reports other than Amazon? Yeah, so tomorrow on Friday, we got Exxon, Chevron, Valero, I believe, AbbVie, and a couple other ones, I think. Next week, we got some big earnings reports in Apple. We got the FOMC meeting next week. Just a lot of stuff happening. Again, NVIDIA up to 417s. Here's a bounce. Look at the NASDAQ. See if it follows this trend. Starting to break highs. Everything else is pushing up as well. All right, so look at NVIDIA break over the previous close, over 418s for a split second. It's at 417.90s, 418s, 418.20s. So little pop over the previous close, over for NVIDIA. Technically, NVIDIA is green on the day now. So interesting movement. I use the 200 EMA solely. I don't use any other moving averages. It's purely the 200 EMA and the volume weighted average price combined together is all I really use. Yeah, I've taken a couple trades. We are up small, waiting for the opening bell. We're up about 170 in our Top Step account, waiting for the opening bell to happen first. How is it that GDP is higher while people are losing jobs? Because jobless claims is a weekly report, Carlitos. GDP is for the quarter. All right, so GDP is 4.9% on the quarter relative to last quarter, where it was much lower, I believe. And so, again, GDP is quarterly. Jobless claims is weekly. And so it's two way different time frames. Yeah, NVIDIA bouncing up. See if it holds the gains, though. I mean, the S&P 500, equities are starting to look a little bit better. We're mostly flat on the day equity-wise. We got 10 minutes until the market opens, but again, we'll see. All right, so again, we're still on this trend. Tesla at 211s, Nvidia still battling, but Tesla over 211s now. Again, if we look at the Q, it's pushing up. The Nasdaq is pushing up. The S&P 500 is pushing up. The SPY at 416.80s. We got Tesla. We got Apple. Apple actually underwhelming today, but Apple actually didn't have a terrible day yesterday, so Apple could be worse. Microsoft is starting to rip up as well. Microsoft back up to 342s. Another one that is trying to bounce back is Google at 124s right now. So all right, so Bank of America said everybody is locked in the 3% mortgages except for millennials. All right, guys. Sorry, some of the news is hilarious right now. Tesla up to 211s right now. Tesla up to 211s. Nvidia at 418s. Hey, we got about 8 minutes left. Yeah, Nvidia's nice little pop. Again, we got a small green cushion heading into the morning. We'll see if it holds. I hope it does. And so Nvidia still making a surge back up, almost to 420s right now. So Nvidia starting to bounce. Option open interest is heavily to the downside. Hey, thanks online. Coca-Cola doing a little bit better. Yeah, I mean, the FOMC almost certainly is going to pause, Peter. Yeah, and jobless claims is only slightly higher than expected. So jobless claims came in at 210 versus 208. So it wasn't like a huge miss for jobless claims. You know, it's pretty neutral claims numbers. The bigger, more polarizing number was GDP. It came in at 4.9%. The price index GDP for the third quarter came in at 3.5 versus 2.5. A much bigger discrepancy relative to the expectations as well as the last one. We also had durable good orders that dropped today. Those came out at 0.5 versus 0.2% for core durable goods, which are the bigger ones. All right, so we're at 211s for Tesla, still trying to push. Yeah, I'm going to watch the World Series without question, for sure. I hope the Rangers win. Rangers got the more stacked team, too. So results mean more interest rates coming. No, we're probably going to pause again. Although there is a little bit higher chance of a rate hike, but it's pretty low still, in all honesty. Hey, well, good luck, Justin. All right, so NVIDIA is still pushing up almost to 420. Again, we're right at the bottom of this trend. You can see we drew this trend earlier, and we've been mostly holding this trend as well. So let's see if my trend line worked. You know, we could also see a different trend here. Like, you know, we could look at it like this as well, I guess, where we shorten this one, zoom it out and look like this. I mean, this could certainly be a little bit better of a trend. We'll see. I think I'll stay with this one for the trend. I think that probably is the more realistic look at the trend. NVIDIA up to almost 420s. Hey, we'll get ready to cry some more when the Rangers win, Justin. Sorry, you set yourself up for that one, brother. But hey, good luck to your team, man. I'm just kind of trolling you a little bit. It's all good. Good luck, man. I hope you know. I don't hope y'all win. I hope the Rangers win because they've never won a World Series. But good luck. You know. Again, NVIDIA up to 420s. Just tapped over it. NVIDIA dragging the market up a little bit. Nasdaq still trying to push. Why is NVIDIA pushing? I mean, they're all down a lot. ECB president speaking right now. Lagarde is speaking. Yeah, I don't know why NVIDIA is pushing up right now. Lenovo yesterday expanded their partnership with NVIDIA. NVIDIA now pushing back a little bit. I think it's just extension. They're down so much already. All right, guys, we got 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Equities are looking much better, though. I mean, a lot of stuff's pushing up. What is so volatile right now? No, I wasn't picking my boogers right now. I'm itching my beard. I got dry skin. My mustache, I should say. I don't know why we had that sudden weird increase in volatility. I'm looking at my equities portfolio to see what's moving. Gold has actually been doing much better. Although gold's pulling back a little bit today. Morgan Stanley NVIDIA position. Yeah, that might be why. I think what's gotten people scared is that Powell said it was likely there would be another rate hike at the end of the year. Yeah, but it's not going to be this next one. It's probably going to be in December, is my guess. Olive oil doesn't really help. Moisturizer helps. Like I've got this moisturizer I use, CeraVe. I used to get these really bad like dry skin patches on my nose and on my cheek. And my cheek would just be really, really red and really, really flaky. I started using this, and my eyebrows would too. I started using this, and basically it never came back. So originally I thought it was maybe giving up dairy, but it's just moisturizer. I'm dumb. I should have used it a long time ago. But definitely top 3 greatest skin routines ever. Here we go. Here's the opening bell. We got 15 seconds here, team. 15 seconds. All right, SPY pulling back at the opening bell. We're 10 minutes in. NASDAQ just cracked the trend. Tesla still pushing up. Yeah, NASDAQ just dumped over under the trend. Equity's looking more red for sure, specifically the NASDAQ. NVIDIA falling down, looking weak, dragging everything down. Apple falling down. Microsoft still pushing up. Gold moving up, and there's a big retracement back up. Wow, look at that big retracement. Part of me wants to buy this, but it's the NASDAQ, and so it's kind of sketched buying this right now. Tesla trying to push up. Look at the E-mini here first. Yeah, E-mini looking much different. I bought it, man. I was thinking about it, but it's all good. Red to green move on a lot of stuff, specifically NVIDIA, NASDAQ, E-mini. NASDAQ's what's looking strong. It could be NVIDIA. Tesla ripping up. Should have bought the dip. You heard me. I was like, man, I'm thinking about buying it, but the opening volatility is a little bit too high, so no FOMO here. I'll be all right. We'll find something else. All right, so now another pullback. All right, so we just bought a little bit of the NASDAQ, took a little bit more off just now. A little quick little baby scalp. We're up about 210 on the day now. Look at Tesla rip. So Tesla flying up. See if it holds. Wow. Big green action here. Heavy momentum. Just made another $100 or so on the NASDAQ here. Maybe I should pull the NASDAQ back up. NASDAQ ripping all the way back up. This trend is definitely gone. I'm going to move it out the way. Look at NVIDIA all the way back up to 420s. Tesla up to 214s. Very nicely green on the day now. That's good. AMC rip it up. It's at 950s. rid of these trend lines. I don't like this view up as well. Let's see if we can get another one. It's up too much. Finally got a dip here. Should I buy it? Okay, so we just bought one contract. All right, just cut it. Made another $100 or so. We're up about 350. No losses yet in futures. Tesla's starting to give it back though. Yeah, Amazon earnings today. Maybe they'll save the market. Maybe they'll hurt the market. We're starting to get a lot of retracements back, though. Again, banks are up today. Microsoft is dragging the market back down, though, is what's going on. Tesla right around that previous close, but we got a slight green action, but it's a little bit indecisive, I would say, right now. I don't trust it enough to bet on any big significant position, I think. All right, Tesla all the way back down at 212s. Going red on the day. And again, if you want to day trade with me, check out TopStep. TopStep funded account program and futures. They give you a demo. Test your skill. If you can hit the target while following their rules, they fund you between 50 to 150K with a 90% split, and they pay out millions, fund thousands of traders a year. It's a great way to limit your risk, but still get exposure to day trading stocks, because you can't day trade actual stocks, but you can day trade the Q essentially in what's called the NQ, the NASDAQ 100 in futures. You can day trade the E-mini, which is basically the SPY price action. You can day trade currencies, gold, silver. Patterns are very similar to stocks, but there's no PDT rule. And these funded account programs, they give you a demo. They test your skill. If you can hit the target while following their rules, they fund you the same amount. And so if you lose, you're only out $49. The base one's $49. If you lose, it's not the end of the world, but you still learn how to trade under pressure. And if you're good enough to pass it, you can get between 50 to 150K in funding. And so in that regard, it makes perfect sense for traders. Check it out. Limit your risk when you're first learning. And if you're good enough to pass it, you can be a funded trader and make some money. So check it out. Here's the link. They are a sponsor of mine. I'm certainly biased because they pay me money. Check them out. Bitcoin dumping right now. Gold's still pushing up. Again, I kind of want to short now, but I don't trust it either. A little bit too middle range for me and choppy. There's the breakdown. See, I gotta go with my intuition sometimes, man. I told you guys I was thinking about it. All right, so again, I should have gone with my intuition to short. Gold's still pushing up in anticipation of this. My equity portfolio is still technically green on the day, though. But again, I think the whole market's fearing Amazon earnings, and I think that's going to bring some heavy volatility to everything. What's Amazon doing? Speaking of this, what's Meta doing? Gold ripping up, so that's nice. Meta breaking down, which is weird, bro. This is a weird earnings. Meta had good earnings, good EPS, good sales, still down. Amazon pulling back, looking weak. Microsoft pulling back, but not super weak. Google's actually up a little bit since the open. What about NVIDIA? NVIDIA's starting to break down. You can see it on the top right chart. Tesla's starting to break down, dragging the market back down too. Very weak action here for sure. Should have gone with that short, man. We got a nice little cushion on the day, though. See what the E-mini is doing if the E-mini looks a little bit better. Actually, I might short into this little pop. All right, so we're short. 40, 45. We're going to take a larger risk trade since we have the cushion to do so. All right, 2 contracts here. I just took half off. Took another half off there. All right, guys. So, again, scalping really quick. We got about $500 in gains. We actually haven't had one losing trade on this account today. So we haven't had one losing account. All right, so we're short. All right, we're going to take a little bit more off. We just made another $50, up about 540 on the day here. That's the graph. We're scared of that rate hike. Yeah, for sure. JP Morgan Chase had an unrealized loss of $40 billion in its HTM portfolio in the third quarter per Reuters. All right, so we're getting a pretty big rebound all the way back up on the NASDAQ. Now we're middle range. I'm completely, I'm not taking anything right now. All right, so we're still ripping up some. Again, NASDAQ completely middle range, completely flat. Russian SPY. Again, the risk of today is choppy action because of right. The risk of today is choppy action because of the earnings reports coming out today. Again, we're all the way back up. The E-mini. All right, so the Nasdaq pull it back again. I'm worried we're going to be flat. I guess if we're worried going to be flat, we could short the top. Intel, Amazon earnings this evening, yeah. PCE tomorrow is expected at the core PCE is the relevant one. It's at 3.7% is the expectation. On the month, it's at 0.3%. Yeah, you have to activate it once you pass Combine. It's a one-time activation fee. So MS, Morgan Stanley's going to have a new CEO. All right, so again, Tesla's starting to dump down here. This looks like a short now. All right. Did we just lose? No, okay, we still made a little bit of money. Or maybe we got out flat. I'm going to short this again. We were up a lot, and now we're down. It's all right. Come on. Break down. We can take a larger risk now, and that's all right. Boom. All right, another one. And we've been trading a little bit of the E-mini on the side. And so in this account, we have had no losses today, and we are up about $950. 945 to be specific out of 27 trades. And again, I want you guys to understand this shows you my risk management system very simply to get funded on Top Step. Very simple to get funded if you use the risk management system. And again, we started small, and so we traded very small size. And again, we had small scalps over and over and over again. We built up a cushion. We're allowed to take larger risks, which for me includes 2 contracts in the NASDAQ. So we build up that cushion. We start taking larger risks. You see the angle get a little bit larger, seeing it get even larger, seeing the angle get even larger as we build up a cushion on the day. And again, you don't have to use this risk management system just in, funded account programs like Top Step. You can really use it anywhere. It can be powerful if you use it correctly. You just got to understand what you're doing, and you also have to just kind of condition yourself through repetition to make the right moves. It takes time, but it works really well if you do it right. No, not yet, Jonathan. I'm trying to build up like a large profit before I withdraw. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to build up a large profit before I withdraw from any of them. I'm also trying to get funded in 3 different accounts right now. I've been funded on 3 and I lost on 1, but I have 2 current funded accounts, and I'm trying to get 3 current funded accounts so I could really start taking some risks in them before I start going super heavy, if that makes sense. And again, if you want to check out Top Step, again, my risk management system, I find it works very well. You can check out the link in the description if you want more. We got Amazon earnings later on today. Hopefully we get some good stuff for Amazon earnings. That's what the market's waiting on right now, is these Amazon earnings. And so we'll see. Again, if you want more info on the risk management system, I actually did a full video about not just it, but the strategy I actually use for it. And so again, if you want to check it out, here's the link. Great way to help support the channel. But here's my risk management system. So there's the video right there if you want to check out my risk management system as well. And again, we're going to be streaming Amazon earnings later on today, so just be ready for that, guys. We will be back bright and early. Market's been sideways. Again, I can't expect much from the market today with Amazon earnings coming out. You know, a lot of the time the market's very neutral and sideways heading into these reports. And so that's what we might expect today, is neutral sideways action heading into these reports. You know, so again, we'll see what we get today, guys. I love you all. I'll be back later on today. We'll see if the market can bounce up ahead of these earnings, but we'll see if Amazon can save the day. And then remember, PCE data drops tomorrow bright and early at 8:30. We're going to stream and cover that live like we always do. So again, be ready for PCE data dropping tomorrow morning. Again, we're going to stream it live like we always do. And I'll see you guys later on this afternoon. Good luck. Y'all be safe today in markets. It could be choppy day. It could be big red day, big green day. I'm not sure. But I'll see you guys later.